Welcome to Project Insight's Power Tutorial Series. We're excited to have you with us today for a quick 15-minute session that tackles a problem we've all faced. Where'd the week go? As your company grows, managing people, projects, and budgets gets more complex, and without a clear visibility into where time is being spent, it's easy to lose track of costs, overload your team, and miss planning targets. With Project Insight, you're not just collecting timesheets, you're empowering your organization with real-time actionable insights that help you make better plans, budget smarter, and build healthier teams. A few housekeeping items. Everyone will be on mute. You are encouraged to use the chat to ask any questions. Feel free to drop those as we go. Today's session will last about 15 minutes, and it will be accessible here via the link when we're done. I'm Matthew Sparks from the Project Insight team, and joining me is Steve West, our CEO and founder. Together, we'll walk through how time tracking features can help your team take control of their week and their workload. Steve, you ready to jump in?
Yeah, let's go. Let's get through it. There's a lot of content to cover.
Yeah, I know, but it's going to be a quick 15. So, as they are on these ones, this is a Project Insight home screen. So this is where I have the ability to understand, my assignments, what is enabled based on, what's configured within our workspace. The nice piece here about the time entry, just like any of the add-ons within our platform, is you can come in here and enable the functionality, and then you're going to have this automatic, seamless cascade of feature set through the rest of the system. So you would go in, enable your time tracking. That's going to then give you access to the time home, which is what we're seeing now, right, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, with Project Insight, you have time tracking baked right into your project management system. So you don't have to have two different systems, one for time tracking and one for project management. This is one system that does both all at once. This screen here, home screen, you can obviously see how many hours you entered for this week, but if you are a timesheet approver, you'll see unsubmitted timesheet section there. There's nobody that, in this case, there aren't any, but if there were, you could just hit a button and remind everybody.
Yep, or click into their timesheets and see what theirs look like, right? And that's in the instance where I am looking at, or rather, Steve's looking at my timesheet to see what I've done over the last week or a bit of time that we have. Otherwise, and as an individual contributor, I have the ability to click into this, which is our time entry grid, where I can come in and see the relevant projects, the tasks that I'm assigned to during this week, right? This is the timely pieces of what I'm working on, right, Steve?
Yeah, and it's only things that you're supposed to be working on now. If there's a task way out in the future, it won't show up on here. If you have an issue, you can see there's an issue on there that you might need to log time on. This is like your traditional grid that people are used to seeing in the time entry system. You don't have to enter your time this way, but we like to show everybody that they can do it so they can see that they don't lose any functionality by moving into our system from any kind of specialized time tracking system.
That's right. And actually, to that point, if you are using one of our integrations such as Jira or DevOps or some of the other pieces that we have, ServiceNow, or even for Service, right, are options where the time can be syncing automatically from those platforms into this sheet, which will roll into the reporting as we'll go into here. So otherwise, we do have the ability here on this time entry to say, hey, I spent 4 hours drafting this charter on Project Waterfall. I did so yesterday. I did project management work. This is billable or it's not, right? So this is an additional option that you have to say, yes, this will be billable. It'll be invoiced out to the client, or we can keep our two different buckets right there. So
yeah, and the project manager can control whether or not the users can mark that billable or not, and the defaults for all of this. So right now, we've got it set up in a way where the individual gets to decide, but you don't have to have it that way at all. It can be just completely automatic as well.
Yep. This time, your 4 hours spent was billable no matter what, and you can add that time and have that cascade through. The other part to note here is that time and the time code that I use can also drive where the actuals come in from a budgetary perspective as well. So that can be fed in through a rate card to say that project management is $100 per hour, and business analyst is $75 per hour, and drive our actual costs as well. So The other part to note here before we continue to fly through our screens is this concept that if you want to log higher level, you can do that as well. I can log against my company here or against clients that we have. So I'm not logging this time against a project specifically. I'm just saying I spent 4 hours, doing accounting for the organization. So
Yeah. And all of this time can be billed if you're happen to be doing services like Matthew mentioned, there are rate cards, so you can have individualized rates per project, per client, and then all of that time can get billed directly to your customer and integrated right in with QuickBooks or any other accounting system.
that's right. The other part to note here is if you prefer, and we're going to go through a few different entry methods as we go, but if you prefer to just have a list here where you can still have that same selection of I'm working on this project that I'm assigned to, I've got this specific task, right? So if I go in here and find our project waterfall, I can then see the tasks that I'm assigned to and log time against this, which we call the time entry worksheet. The nice piece about Project Insight is all of the screens that we're going to enter time on all roll into the same places, right? All the outputs the same from the reporting or the time entry home. It's really just a preferred methodology. The other place where we often have users logging their time is on their work list. So the work list is the all of my relevant assignments that are either overdue or upcoming. Typically, it's the next 7 days worth of work, similar to what we were seeing on the time entry grid. I can see that I'm assigned multiple tasks. I can see the name of the task. I can see the project that these tasks are being driven from. These are all of my open work. So this is everything that I need to do. The nice part about coming in here and doing so on the work list is, as you can see, I'm associated with multiple projects on this screen. It takes the guesswork out of what I should be working on. I can come in here and start a timer, right? And say, hey, there you go. I've got that going, and the timer will run in the background until I tell it to stop, or it automatically turns itself off. When I start another timer or do another task, or another input method is right here via the time function, where I can say, hey, I spent 2 hours. It's the same selections that we had on the other screens, where I could say I was doing project management or IT support or whatever time codes we have entered in, and this is or is not billable. So
yeah, and anywhere in the system where you see the status card, the user can put their time in or make a comment and do all that other stuff. And the reason we have all these different views is because team members need to like doing time different ways. Some people love the timer, some people love to do it on the grid, some people love to enter time on each task as they go. We've made it really easy for the team member to actually do all that because we want them to put that information in so you can get it billed and have it be accurate in your project finances.
I think that's a really important point to note, Steve. It's the idea of it being easy and customized to me, the individual, right? I don't have to fit in this box to say this is how you enter time. It's not this punch card system. It's this flexible, adaptive tool that works in the way that my brain works, right? So
right, and because we're putting the time right on the project work breakdown structure, any of you guys who are project managers out there that like have to do this cross-referencing between time tracking system and project management system, you don't have to do that anymore because all of this is real time, reflected in your earn value, reflected in your plan value, reflected in your actuals compared to your earn and plan value, and that happens automatically by your users participating in this process.
that's right. And that rolls down even to here, which we're looking at the granularity of this task, right? So we've seen this draft charter task. I can see here, some details associated with it to say, where we are, we're over our hours. I can understand where our plan was, right? What we had said we were going to do versus where we actually are, which is, again, part of why some of these health indicators are on. I can see how my progress has been made to this. So again, I can add time right here. Or if I go down to the bottom, I can add time granularly on the task level as well. So again,
right.
A work where you want approach.
And what you're seeing there is all the individual entries over time that have been made on this particular task. So some systems only have like one value for your task. Oh, here's the actual entry that one time. And it doesn't give you the ability to see like, well, no, I did this kind of work and that kind of work. And this is work by so-and-so. And this is work by somebody else. This is each time you put an entry in, whether it's coming from Jira or DevOps or just putting it into our system, you'll see a new entry in there. And a lot of people want to see this because that's what the time tracking systems do.
Yeah, spot on. The other part that this is applicable to are really any objects within Project Insight,
That's
right?
right.
The rate items, risks, actions, issues, decisions. I can log time against those, or even something custom that you might need, kind of a more bespoke piece. Time can be logged onto. All of this data rolls up into the project level. So I'm going to use my breadcrumbs up top here, and I'm going to click into the project view now, where I'm going to be met with one of many views. This is the task list, where we can see the data. I have the ability to come in here and right click to get in actual hours, right? So I can then bring that column in really easily. Again, this is based on permissions. So I have the permissions to come in and see these data points. Now I can see, hey, we had planned 2 hours. We did 12. Yikes, not the best, right? On this charter that we've been looking at, we had planned 20. That's where that 22 comes in. And then you can click on it from the high level and still get into the granularity without any effort, right? It's just a click, and here's the data set that you're looking for.
Yeah, and so for those of you who might be current clients of ours, maybe you didn't know, but you can click right on that actual hours column from the task list or a task report and see the details and even modify it from this view. Also, we can add the total value. We showing you the actual hours, but there's also an actual total and a billable total, and Matt might be showing you that next.
We can, yeah. I hadn't really planned on it. I've got some predefined pieces here. The one other part I want to note before I leave here is if I want to add time from this screen, I can do so as well, right? You can enter right there. So if I show some of the plan and values, you can understand, hey, the 2 hours that we spent with this type of resource, with this type of code, with this individual had a planned effort of $230, right? When all was said and done, I can then even understand what that total was because we went over on our hours. We're at 930, right? So this is where all of these pieces can be reportable right out of Project Insight. So
yeah, it just rolls right into the finance, the project budgeting, and all those other features that people expect.
That's right. All of this then becomes accessible in our reporting as well. So I'm going to click into another tab here and show this is the time entry report. This is really all of the time that's been logged over the last bit of, really, I think this is throughout the history as this is a demo site, but this is really where our quick filters come into play where you can say, show me the current week or the current month or our fiscal year, whatever that happens to look like for you and your organization. So you can come in and view all of this data yourself.
Yeah, and this is across your whole portfolio right there, as you're seeing. You can obviously this can be filtered and grouped and do all kinds of things that our normal reporting does, but this is across all projects and all resources. And one other thing about these reports is that they can edit right from the report. So it's not just here's just a printout. If there's some error in this data, as long as it's not locked on a timesheet already, you can actually modify it right here and make some corrections. So that's really been useful.
Yeah, which is what I just did, right? So what I did was I grouped these up by the projects themselves. So now all of them, automatically filtered into the work that was being done. I modified this from 38 hours to 40 because I knew that's how long Olivia spent on this time when we had our conversation, right? So the other part to note of any of these reports is that the data itself can also be visualized in a graph, right? You can have graphical interface. I've got this idea of this same time entry report with chart where now I can understand my work, my plan value versus where we actually were. On this particular bar, I've got it grouped by each individual. So here's what Brittany had to do, and this is how Brittany performed, right? And then Megan over here had been asked this much, but spent a little bit more time, right? So maybe we want to have that conversation with Megan. It becomes very easy and visually appealing here within our platform. The last one to note from the reporting perspective is that these values themselves can also be shown out over time as well if you want to see this. So this is a dual. I've got it charted at the top. If I want to make that chart go away, I can just come in here really quickly and say, don't show me the chart anymore, rerun this report, and then I'll have that data set without the chart. We have this particular one grouped up by the program, right, Steve?
Yep.
So here I can see, hey, we had planned on my IT program to spend 2,300 hours and some change. We actually did 177, which demo site, right? And here's the difference between those two. I can drill into each of the projects that make up this program, so how those roll together. I have
Right.
the ability to then even get granular on each of the tasks that are on these projects, right? Right here from the screen. So
Right. And what you're seeing is, again, like what Matt mentioned there, is this is how many hours we said our projects have told us we're going to have during this month. And here's what the time entry system says, and it's spreading it across many different months in time. So this is very common to see people doing this in Excel spreadsheets and whatnot, and they're constantly updating all the different columns. Our tool will just do this automatically for you. Run it anytime you want in real time, right off the database, and it'll give you the expected report you need.
all because I enabled the time entry add-on and then let my people enter time in a way that makes sense to them. The
Mhm.
other part that's really nice about these is you can add those planned values in here as well.
Yep.
So if I want to then understand, what are the work hours and what are the planned values that we
Yeah.
had set on these, I can rerun this same data set. This one's looking backward at time, obviously, but you can do this looking forward to then understand, hey, this is how much my IT program is going to cost me over the next 6 months based on what my PMs have planned in the tool. So
Yeah. And the plan value also is, that is the cost or the expected billable cost or billable amount or actual amount that your hours and labor in the project are gonna create plus any expenses, and then the time entry as well is compared against that, and both the schedule work and the time entries will use those rate cards. So if you're billing a client and you have many people have many different rates, different resources, charge this and that and the other thing for different clients, you can have these rate cards calculate this all dynamically for you right out of the box.
yeah, that's right. You can have that global rate. You can have the one specific to the client or
Yep,
one specific to the project that you're doing for the client, right? You
that's
can
right.
really customize what that looks like. But I do think we're out of time here,
Yep.
Steve. If you have any questions on this, please do reach out. We would love to work with you. You can contact sales@projectinsight.com. That's whether you're a customer or not. We're happy to walk you through how you can put these powerful features to work for you. Thank you for
Great.
joining us.
Well, thanks, Matt.